about how my student Janine went from 5K per month to 10K per month in 55 days. So I'm extremely excited to come to you guys. I'm actually streaming live to YouTube for the first time. I'm kind of expanding my platform. So I'm doing a mixture of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn for now on. Just going to be going live to there. So I'm kind of learning different things. So bear with me if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this on Instagram and it's not like the smoothest thing. I'm still kind of learning the technology. My name is Bryce Tubbs. So I got started back in 2015 with my virtual accounting, bookkeeping, and CFO business. It took me a lot of trial and error in order to go and grow it to the six-figure levels. And then once I started doing that, people started reaching out and asking me to show them how to do it for themselves. So I want to come and bring a story today of a success student named Janine. And before we go even further, if you want couple things. So number one, these videos are free. So one way that we kind of boost the algorithm and we, get it seen to more people, and as a way to say thank you for sharing this information, I do need for you to like do some kind of engaging. So for example, if you're watching this thing live, write down hashtag team live inside the comments so I can make it more interactive. I can ask questions. I can answer questions. If you're watching this thing on the replay, write down hashtag team replay so I know you're there. I can leave some cool stuff along the way. Also, if there are any questions that maybe I'm unable to answer inside of the time that I'm doing this, because I either don't see your comment, don't see your question, right? Hashtag connect, and I can reach out to you and answer some questions you have. And then finally, if you want help growing your business without having to make a lot of the mistakes that cause most people to fail, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, depending on where you're watching it, to book a call with me to see if I can help you inside of our paid mentorship program. Then also there's a link to our YouTube channel that has more free videos, just hundreds of videos that you can watch to go and grow your business. So let's kind of jump into this thing. So Janine it's about her fourth year in business, I believe, and she was stuck at about $5,000 per month for about 2 out of the last 3 years. Now, she was able to then go grow her business to about 10K per month. It took between about 55 to like 40 days, just inside of that range. I believe it was like 55 in total. But there was like 10 days where she was just kind of like going through the initial coaching calls and set up the system. Now, sometimes some people watch these videos and maybe they're not quite at that level, or maybe they're just getting started and they kind of say, well, I'm at 5,000 a month, like this information is not going to be relevant to me. That's I hear where you're coming from, but that's not really the best way you should look at it. The way you should look at it is, if she was stuck at $5,000 per month for so long, if you see what are the things that she had to change in order to get to 10K per month, it's going to allow you to be able to go and reach 10K per month way faster. So you don't have to stay at those trouble points. Like for me, for example, it took me 6 months to be able to start getting clients inside of my bookkeeping business because I just didn't understand like marketing. I didn't understand pricing. I didn't understand sales. I had like no understanding of business, and it caused me to really struggle. But then once I started getting around people, I started paying for like mentorship programs. I started paying for like coaching, and I got to see other people like how much further ahead they were and like what they were doing to either pass me or go way further. It allowed me to be able to copy a lot of those elements into my business to grow both my accounting firm and my mentorship program a lot faster. So number one, okay, the first thing that Janine had to change in order to do that, so it's mindset. So sometimes what happens is if you're in business for any amount of time, like over a year, 2 years, 3 years, you tend to kind of get like stuck in your ways, right? There's a way that you do business, the way you talk to your clients, the way that you interact, the way that you show up to your business. And if you stay in that zone for too long, it causes you to actually cap out and you stay at a certain income level, right? And it makes it very hard, right? Because at 5 grand a month, for some people, that's enough for them to like go and like do this full time. But in her particular case, because she was in California, her living expenses were a little bit higher, so she couldn't really just like leave her job. So she was working both a full-time job and at 5 grand per month. Now we're gonna talk a bit more about like what were some of the challenges with the job, but the specific thing was it came from like she needed a new perspective. So she didn't join my program because she didn't really know how to start a business. She joined the program because she wanted a new perspective and a fresh way of seeing the world, right? Because things have kind of changed since COVID. Like pricing is different. You're able to charge way more. People are okay with you being virtual. They're okay with you having a team. They're okay with a lot of things that they weren't, 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now, when she did it, the first thing we did was go and talk about raising her prices and changing her packaging. Most people, if they're struggling to really get to $10,000 a month, there's two main reasons. Number one, it's just that you don't know how to find the right client. Number two, you don't really know how to package your service. So when you do actually get the right person in front of you, you end up charging a lot lower and a lot less. For example, I had a client one time And when I was doing my consultation call, they were kind of crying poverty, saying like, "Oh, I don't know if we can afford this. I don't know if we can afford this." I lowered my rate significantly. I like it started like a $450 per month quote, and I like lowered the price by like $200. So I was only charging like $250 a month. And like they were talking, oh, they couldn't do it. Oh, so hard. And I basically had to like beg them to give me the opportunity, right? When I got inside of the books, they had, I think it was like 500K in like cash sitting inside the bank. And I was like, well, I thought you couldn't afford it. It's like, no, like we just didn't want to pay more money for you because they just didn't value the service. I just know I had to like separate myself. So it wasn't a lot of value. It wasn't they couldn't afford it. They just didn't value the service. So once I started understanding that, it's like, oh, so when they say certain things, it's not necessarily that they're lying. It's just that the way that they believe and view the world is different than what it actually is. So all I have to do is learn how to educate people a little bit differently so that they actually want to pay my higher rate for my accounting services, right? So generally inside of the program, I actually had to build an internal calculator. And basically what it allows you to do is whenever you're talking to a business owner that might not fully understand the value of what you do, you can pull out the calculator, go line by line with the person, just like walk them through why the price is the way it is in a very linear, logical fashion that makes them understand, okay, this person means business person serious. They have a lot of processes. They have a lot of systems in place. I can't really just kind of take them lightly. They actually start respecting you a little bit more. And it's a lot easier for you to be able to charge a price we need to. And then the next thing was once you started raising your prices, one thing for you to raise your price, because you can go up to anyone and say like it's $1 million a month, right? But not everyone's going to pay that, right? Most people won't pay that because most people can't pay that. But the biggest part when it comes to pricing is actually believing that people will pay you that amount of money, right? She had never gotten a client that would pay her like 2 grand a month, 3 grand a month, 4 grand a month. So just knowing that she could actually do that was very challenging, right? So we had to do a lot of like deep kind of mindset work in order to like show, hey man, if you're asking for 3 grand a month, it's not going to put the person out of business. I don't care if they're crying poverty, right? It's just you got to understand how to talk to people. You got to understand how to feel people. You have to understand their cash flow. You have to understand their cash reserves. You have to understand their mindset, their mentality. Do they already have contracts? Like, what is? You have to really understand how to learn the person. Once you can understand how to learn the person, when you're talking to them, they respect you a lot more. It's easier to charge a higher price point because they have to give you a better, clearer picture of the financial situation side of the business. Like they'll tell you if they have to go take out a loan in order to pay, for the cleanup. They'll tell you if they're in a cash crunch, right? They'll tell you like how much cash is inside of the bank, and they're not going to be lying to you because they actually respect you. That comes down to mindset and actually believing that people who you communicate with respect you enough to tell you the truth. Give me one second. Let me drink this. So that's step number one. If you understand step number one, go ahead and write a 1 down inside of the chat. Put a 1 down inside of the chat, and I'll know I can move on. I kind of did this live like impromptu. I didn't really make a post about it. So we have about 6 people on the stream right now. I really appreciate you spending some time taking your business seriously and learning about this stuff. So I see some 1s down inside of the chat. So I can move on to number 2. Number 2 is about prioritization of time. So just like we talked about a few minutes ago, she was working a full-time job, right? Because 5 grand a month, it just wasn't really enough money for her to be able to leave her job because she's making a really good amount of money at the job that she was working. So it's actually her main job was it was working at this like nonprofit. It was like a business development like nonprofit where she would help new business owners kind of make business plans, and then like a certain amount of them would like want to like do accounting services with her, but it wasn't a very large amount. So that's why it took her so long to be able to actually go and like build up that clientele. So when I started looking, she was like, I don't really have a lot of time to kind of grow my business, and I was just like, okay, interesting. So when she said she didn't have a lot of time, is when we actually looked at her calendar. I was like, okay, you don't have a lot of time. Can you please like maybe open your calendar just so I can kind of see? The way that she had her day structured was not conducive to getting to 6 figures per year. Okay. So I had to learn this because when I was first getting started, I would find a lot of different reasons to like be busy but not be effective because I had gotten so many people that were like rejecting me and not really wanting to work with me. I would go to like the grocery store. So like I would literally walk around the grocery store. I would walk around my neighborhood. I would drive to the mall, but not actually go in the mall. Like I would just do everything I could to like leave my workspace and escape, like escape. Now, most people don't have that kind of extremeness inside of their schedule in their life. That's kind of what I was dealing with back in 2015. So what I started doing was one of the courses that I had to buy was on like productivity and time management. I started reading a lot of books around that as well. But it was really the courses that I paid for that gave me like the best bang for my buck when it came to that. And what I ended up learning was that you have to learn how to prioritize certain tasks and activity inside of your business first. So how most people generally do, and this is how I did it when I had a job and I went back to corporate America, it was I would get up, I would leave the house, I would go do some work, I would come home, um, I would eat, and then I would do like a little bit of client work, then I would like watch some TV, then I'd go to bed. The one thing that I started noticing over time as I was doing more and more productivity courses was the main thing was I need to be doing consultation calls and marketing. But in my day to day, I wasn't doing a lot of consultation calls. I wasn't doing a lot of marketing because I always felt like I would kind of like do the marketing whenever I had time. But unfortunately, when you're working a job, you don't just have spare time kind of lying around, right? So you have to be very intentional. Generally, whenever I'm working with someone inside the mentorship program, the first thing we do is we look at your calendar. We're looking, okay, so where's your time going? And even if you have like a job, a full-time job, like within your actual workday, maybe you work after work, maybe you work at lunchtime, maybe you have a job that allows you to be able to work during the day. You need to prioritize your work in terms of number one is marketing activities. Number two, you have a little bit of room for sales, like consultation calls. But then number three, you're doing your client work. So generally, your client work should either be done like, for me personally, I like doing client work in the evenings and slash or on the weekends. Personally, for me, I like doing things later rather than do on the weekend because sometimes I just like having my weekends where I can just kind of like just drive around, do nothing, go out to a restaurant, just kind of like relax, just like a time to kind of recharge. So regardless of how much time you have, that should be the order. It should be marketing or doing something to grow your business. At least get one new person every single day to know you exist, right? Number two would be I have a lot of open time for like sales calls. So I would, if I didn't have any sales calls, I would go straight to client work. But if I did have a sales call, I would wait till after do my sales call to do my client work. And I kept prioritizing like that, right? Because the most important thing when you're starting out is to go and get the clients. Now, a lot of people are like, well, Bryce, if I just got the client, I want to make sure I do a great job. I'm not saying not to do a great job, but I'm saying make sure you focus on the main thing. Priority number one is growing the business. Priority number two is doing the work. Priority number three is keep replicating the process, right? So a lot of people, they focus on the client work, and client work is good. I'm not saying don't do that, but what I'm saying is the only way that I would focus on client work is if you're going to be utilizing client work to be your new client acquisition or client generating system. So once you have one really good client, if you know that client has a lot of people that they're going to be referring or they already are referring, then your client work can actually be the tool that you use to grow your business. But if you're not quite at that point, you need to focus on doing more prospecting, doing more content creation, things like that, in order to keep getting more and more people inside the door first. And then once you get to that point where you don't need to do that and you have more referrals, there are different things you can do. Like we teach about how to actually take your existing clients and get it to become more of like a quadratic kind of equation. So one client in brings in 1 to 2. Each new client brings in 1 to 2 new clients, right? Then really easy to kind of go and get to your goal. You don't really need that if you're trying to go from like 0 to 10K per month. It's more for the students that are going from like 10K to like 50K to 100K per month. That's where that quadratic kind of math is a little bit more important. Cool. So that was a really major thing that she was talking about that took her up there, right? It was opening up more time in her day to be able to do the activities that she needed and that she was oftentimes putting off in order to actually go and grow and get the extra 5K per month. Now, if that makes sense, put a 2 downside of the chat below. Put a 2 downside of the chat below if that makes sense to you. If you can't go and if you can't post, I know I'm using Restream, so some people it doesn't actually allow you to be able to comment. That's okay, no problem. Just as long as you're here, I'm really thankful for you. Remember to make sure to write team live, team replay, or comments if you can. See someone put inside of Facebook, they put a 2 down. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. So let's jump into the next thing. So the next thing is marketing. Okay. So this is what she did to actually go and get the client. So there's 3 phases when it comes to marketing and slash getting the client. In other industries, it's called client acquisition. Generally, for us, we just talk about like we call it like getting clients because we focus more on clients. So 3 aspects. Number 1 is audience. Number 2 is warmth. Number 3 is conversion. Oh hey Elena, Hopefully you're doing really good. Great to see you. Really appreciate you taking some time to come into here. So, audience, warmth, conversion. Okay. So, in her particular case, her audience came from her partners. So, I put a very heavy emphasis when it comes to partnerships, even so much that I even made a book about how to go and get partners that can afford to pay, they can bring in clients and get you like six figures per year. If you want that book, comment 6FP book. Inside the comment section, I'll be sure to send you the link to go and get it. I actually put a special price on it. So generally it's about $21.99 when you get it on Amazon. If you're watching it from like either one of my live streams, YouTube, my LinkedIn, or my Instagram, I generally give you guys more of like a community kind of insider price of $4.99 as a way to say thank you so much for supporting us. I really appreciate your time, your attention, and you guys just being here and focusing on this stuff. So if you want that, go ahead and comment hashtag 6FP book. I'll be sure to put that put the link inside the comments and reply when I get a chance. So when you get partners, right? The reason why I like partners, because a lot of people, especially myself, when you first get started, you try and find clients. And it's not that going after clients is bad. It's just that when you're trying to move something really quickly, leverage is the most important thing. So there are people that have already been spending all their time, in some cases all their life, building clients, building trust, getting their brand out there. And when you learn how to actually tap into the market, then it generally makes it very, very easy. Now, there's a right way to tap into that. There's a wrong way to tap into it. That's why I did create the book, because it shows you exactly how to go and tap into that. The wrong way is to be asking people straight for if you can do speaking events, if you can, talk to their clients, if you can get your foot in. Like, there's a wrong way to do it. If you do it the wrong way, people ignore you when they see you as like a taker. It's just like, this person doesn't get it. I was actually talking to my controller because this one guy reached out to us on Instagram. He's like, hey, you want a partner? It's like, okay, well, what'd you have in mind? And when he told me what he had in mind, there was no benefit to me. Like, there was absolutely no benefit. He had no audience that he could provide. There was no tangible reason for me to do it. And I was talking to my controller. I was like, dude, this guy just doesn't get it. And just kind of ignored him. You know what I mean? If he had approached me a little bit differently, talked about like what was in it for me, talked about like what I can get as a result, if talked about his size audience, where is his audience stored, it would make it a lot more attractive for me to actually want to help the person out and actually want to work with them. Give me one sec. New 6FP. I see someone put inside the comments that they want the book, so I'm actually going to put it inside the comment section so you can go get it. Cool. Just put it in the comment section. Cool. So yeah, so when you know how to approach them correctly, it makes things a lot easier. So part of her Janine's competitive advantage is that she did work at the nonprofit, right? So it actually has a lot of like business startup stuff. So it's very easy for her to say, hey, can I actually form a partnership with you guys for my business? Now, once she was able to do that, she was able to start getting better quality invitations, better quality events that she can do. That brings us to the next one. So when we talk about audience, it's about partnerships, how she went about getting her audience. The next thing is about warmth. Okay, so that means like warming up leads, because sometimes what happens is that if you can't get trust with the business owner, then you're not going to be able to truly get them to want to pay you a higher amount of money. So the way that you do that is by warming them up. You can do that with like making content. You can do that by teaching them, by educating them, by making posts on social media. The faster way to do that, especially for Janine, is actually doing speaking events. So she has the partners then give her access to their email list or their client list. Then they go and do a actual presentation, like a webinar, where she basically teaches them about accounting, bookkeeping. Now, we give you guys the scripts of exactly what to say and like what to tweak in order to do it, because she had been doing presentations for a long time, but she was having a lot of trouble adding in what are called hooks, anchors, and then also like belief changing aspects of it. So what she would do is she would do a presentation, but it'd be so educational that the business owner wouldn't really see why they needed her help, because they felt like they can try it on their own, and she gave them homework. Instead, the way that we teach her how to do it is by removing some of the things that are overly educational and instead making it more motivational. So the business owner is motivated to actually make a change and is actually motivated to have some professional help come in to do it for her. So once we started adding that, because she made really nice looking presentations, but the conversion element just wasn't there. So once we were able to do that, it made it a lot easier. Now, the third stage is about conversion, right? So this oftentimes is about doing your consultation call. So there's a right way to do a consultation call and a wrong way to do a consultation call. Like, we give you like scripts exactly what to say. Now, if you have trouble selling, right? Let's say that you're doing consultation calls, for whatever reason, people just aren't respecting you, or they're just not really wanting to work with you. This is kind of an insider tip that I generally don't say on stuff like this. a thing you can do to help them like respect you a little bit more and to like actually want to work with you faster is by offering QuickBooks training. QuickBooks or even like basic bookkeeping training to maybe their bookkeeper on staff or even to the owner. Now, the reason why this is important is because you don't need to sell because they're already in conversation with you. They already like you. You're already working with them. So it's not really like a sale. It's just more of just showing them how bad of a situation their books are actually in and what it's actually going to take effort-wise for it to be completely fixed. And then once you're able to do that, they're like, okay, I no longer want to do this myself. I respect your skill set. This is way more than what I want to do. I was not expecting this. I didn't respect you. I apologize. I'm so sorry. And then once you're able to do that, it's so much easier for you to then convert them. So we actually put it inside of her sales script because she doesn't really like sales that much, right? She's good at sales, but there's different things you can do to leverage your time a little bit faster. So we started doing was saying, okay, cool, let's go speaking event. Let's go straight to QuickBooks training. And now when we do QuickBooks training, some people prefer to do like QuickBooks training like hourly, and that's not a bad thing. What we did for Janine was we worked on selling packages of QuickBooks training. So like certain dollar amounts. So like there's a 650, there is a 1,200, there's also like a $3,000 QuickBooks training kind of package that she sells to the business owner, right? Depending on like what they actually want. And what that does is actually says it basically gives you an amount of money to sit there and to sell them on why they need your service. Now, of course, there is a sales script you need to go and do when you're selling the QuickBooks training for that. So kind of, pick your poison. In my opinion, it's easier just to learn how to do a regular consultation call and close them. But in her case, she wanted to do the QuickBooks training because the QuickBooks training one can be a little bit more scalable because every business owner can actually utilize it. And then you can actually train a junior bookkeeper underneath you to go and take people through the training and then actually have them sell. So it can scale out a little bit faster and a little bit further, depending on how you're going to be doing that. But in her particular case, she was already really good at QuickBooks training, so we just had to package it. So now she basically gets paid, between $650 to about $3,000 to sit there for a period of time teaching the bookkeepers, or sorry, not the bookkeepers, teaching the business owners how to do bookkeeping until they're like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And now then she's also getting a monthly fee, right? So in addition to getting paid $3,000 up front, now she's actually getting paid a monthly fee in addition to it. So like they want to do it, they do like 2 or 3 sessions, or they come and see some like the course training material that she's built for them. So it reduced her time on the phone. And they're like, this is too hard. I don't want to do this. I have extra cash. Okay. And then now they're paying her a monthly amount. So it's the ultimate hack for her. I'm really glad that she was able to do it. Now, another thing we like to do when it comes to that is in order to find your partners, let's go back to audience. So in order to find your partners, one thing you can do is you can actually utilize LinkedIn to go and identify like who is the best quality partner for you. And we have like different scripts and different like metrics you can utilize to know like who's the best partner. But once you're able to do that and you actually can communicate with them, you can reach out to them. We give you like a script of like what to say, like in order to make sure they feel like it's win-win, so that you don't get that thing that happened to me today where I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy. He's just a taker, right? Once you're able to do that, we also have like email follow-up you can do so that you can make sure you're actually getting the decision maker. You can give them over any kind of resources or any kind of research they need to do about you before the call in order for you to set up your speaking event or in order for you to even like talk about a referral partnership. Once you have that, things are a lot easier and a lot faster. Someone said, hi, hello, thank you so much for coming to the show today. I really appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to see you. And yeah, and those are the 3 steps that Janine took to go from 5K per month to 10K per month. So it's like, it took her 5 years to kind of build that foundation, but then once she knew and once she got that new perspective, and then she was able to restructure her day so she had more time to focus on like marketing and sales, and then she just got really good at her marketing process. That's when she was able to go and double her revenue within 55 days. And then next month, we're anticipating she's going to be selling at least 15 grand a month. The month after that, we're going to try and get to about 20 grand per month. I'm not saying that you have to make 20 grand per month if you don't want to. I'm not saying that has to be your goal. But I'm just saying for her life, she wanted to be able to do it because she just believes that she could. Life is good how she is right now, but she wants to take it to the next level, see what she's capable of, and see, if she can grow the business to a good size level. So I'm super excited and thankful that she's, been around this journey, and I can't wait to continue to share her progress with you guys. I might even start bringing her on the YouTube channel in a couple of months/week to even start doing some videos talking about how she does it, and even bring me some QuickBooks training videos that she'll donate to the channel. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want some help growing your business, maybe you've been trying to do a lot of this stuff or you've been thinking about doing this stuff, but it's just not quite working the way that you want to, Click on the link inside the description either above or below. I'm here to help you. Let's see if the program's a good fit for you. It's not a good fit for everybody, but for the ones who are, we look to make a really, really heavy impact in your life so that you can go refer other people to us and be a testimonial for us, just to share, hey, this stuff works if you put your mind to it and go. So I would love for that to be you. If it is, I'll see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, I'll see you inside of the next video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.